My name's Jamie Choi. I am the Director of Consulting and Business Development. Today, I'd like to just go over some functionality in Business Central with you and give you a little bit of a tour of what we have been working through. And get settled. Okay, so today, as Corey mentioned, we're going to go through Reprice and kind of explain the setup. But to start, to kind of accomplish that at the end is kind of Reprice. We want to start back at the beginning with really just talking about pricing and sales orders in Business Central. If you've done some of our other trainings or webinars, then you guys have seen a little bit on the sales order side and kind of are hopefully getting familiar with those kinds of screens. But just in case it's the first time you've seen it, or, because this is all new, I just want to take a step back and talk about, okay, where are we going to store pricing inside of BC? Where are we going to book the order? How is that going to look when we're reviewing? Just make sure that kind of as we step through that we can kind of connect the dots for you and give you a full picture of that. So to start, I want to talk about kind of overall how the new world is going to look for Business Central as far as importing orders and whatnot. We do still plan to import your sales orders, so that piece is not changing. Especially for our kind of phase 1 rollout and development, your sales entry platform will remain as it is now. For most of you in wine and spirits, that's going to be Inventive. You'll still punch orders in Pocket Advantage just like you do now, and those orders will be sent over to your new environment. So instead of importing into your Infuzion GP like you have now, those will import into BC using the same type of import method. That's going to allow us to leverage a lot of the defaults we already leverage using outside sales. It's also going to allow us to kind of control the flow of orders just like we do now. So we'll have the same functionality for same-day orders and override orders and all kinds of things that we can do just like we can now with those adjustments. We also are going to be storing, similar to now, your list pricing, your FOB, vendor cost information. All of that is going to be stored in BC. Now, what is going to be a little bit of a change is that we're moving right now, your ERP system for wine and spirits, your ERP system is the central point of truth for all of your data right now, except for your deals. Right now, you manage deals inside of EIS for Inventive customers, and that EIS, it becomes your central point of truth for your deals. We will be shifting that to live inside of BC, so your deals are going to kind of come under the ERP umbrella as far as managing those, making sure that we, kind of have a one-stop shop for you guys to manage all your pricing. So not just your list price and cost information, but also the deal setup. We're working hard to develop that into the new system as well. We will still pass pricing to Inventive, so pricing on the sales platform side does not change. They'll still be pricing your orders just like they do now in Pocket Advantage, so none of that changes. They'll just get that information from us instead of from EIS as you're managing your deals. So with all that said, we will, even though we're keeping your information generally the same, even though we're moving that central point of truth for deals, which is the base of Reprice, as you know, we're moving that to live inside of BC. Even though we're doing that, we are going to keep the same structure because, remember, we are still integrating with Inventive, so we still need to speak their language as far as your deal setup. We need to make sure that we still offer the same types of pricing for you so that you really can still price your orders with your customers the exact same way that you do now. It'll just be in a little bit of a different updated screen. So for that, we do continue to offer a wide variety of deals. So some of you right now have setups where you do deals 4, which is called a guided deal process, or deals 3, which is our kind of case 1 pricing for customers. Both of those inside of Inventive do not qualify for Reprice. The reason for that is because the rep really is selecting the deal. That does not change. We still will have those deal types available for you in the new system where you can set your deal up to say, you know what, I want my rep to pick this. I do not want the system to shop the best price. That's common for like BTB and BTG pricing in Tennessee, for example, or other scenarios where you really want the rep to be able to say, this is the price we're going to assign, instead of letting the system search all available deals and assign the best one. So we still will have that stuff available. We still will have cost-based pricing available for your like bill back customers, transfer customers, that type of thing. And we'll still have channel pricing available for chain. Some of you use that for chain pricing. So set prices that you really don't want to change and usually are case one. So that is still available. So I just want to kind of call that out, that the pricing for that still going to work the same way. Again, you will manage it differently inside of BC instead of an EIS, but then we'll pass that information to Inventive. All of those deals that I've talked about up to this point don't reprice. So I'll still show you where the pricing kind of shows on the sales order, but we really will send that information to Inventive. The rep will choose the deal, and then the pricing will come in with that order. Then it is what it is as far as the pricing, unless somebody manually adjusts it or cancels it and repunches it. So that leaves us with the last section of deals that I haven't talked about, which is the family deals. So family deals, or best pricing deals, is what really drives Reprice. So when I talk about the repricing process today, that's what I'm talking about, is if you have or have considered using family deals, and this is going to be applicable to you for that. The reason that we need Reprice, as most of you already know, is because we really want to make sure that if the rep punches an order and it comes in and there's other orders in the system going for the same customer and the same ship date, that we really are shopping the best price for that customer. This outside sales, and this is true for any outside sales platform, they only know what order you're punching at the moment. So whatever order you key in at that moment, they're going to shop the best price for that order and send that to us. But if there's add-on orders or there's multiple reps working the same account that maybe combine some items onto kind of a bigger deal that the customer qualifies for better pricing, we want to make sure that that's running in the background inside of the ERP as well. So right now, our current Infuzion solution, our legacy solution, does have Reprice. That runs in the background throughout the day and is going to kind of shop those deals when applicable to make sure that everything is trued up to the best price available for the customer item and ship date combo. This is the same in Business Central. The point where it reprices is a little bit different, but that is the same process, and we'll be shopping throughout the day. Good. So all of that to say, kind of a broad overview of where we're going. I really want to start in the system. So here I'm at my home page for my repricing test company here. You can see that I just have my dashboard of all kinds of good activity. We're going to do a lot of kind of basic user navigation, so I won't spend a ton of time on that, but just want to point out that I'm at my landing page right now, and that's where I'm going to start today. I want to talk through, before we get to the sales order and the reprice process, I want to talk through kind of the other pieces of price and cost and margin, where we're going to be storing those, and just give you kind of a general overview of what that's going to look like inside of Business Central. So the first is, we'll start with the list price. So the list price is going to be captured on sales price list. So I'm just going to use my search. If I can type, I'm going to use my search window here at the top. This is a wonderful thing in Business Central where you really can just search and it's going to give you kind of available options. So very intuitive there. And I'm going to choose sales price lists. So the way we are going to structure your sales price list, think of this as kind of your frontline price window that you have now. We're going to structure that to group by vendor because usually when you're managing pricing and changes, you're doing that by vendor. So I have an example one here that's Brown-Forman that I can click into and see all my Brown-Forman items. Now for mine, it's very minimal right now just for our demo here. I just wanted to show you one item so I didn't overwhelm you with data here. But this is going to show my Brown-Forman list pricing. So I can see that this is for Brown-Forman. I can see that this applies to all customers, which we would expect for your front lines. And I can see that this is an active price list. So these below are going to be active prices. Down in the grid here, this is going to show me all of my items. Now, I only have two here because I just am demoing with this one item and wanted to kind of show you some specific information about it. But if you have all of the vendor's items here, you can kind of scroll and get to any of those. You can jump into focus mode, which kind of gives you more screen real estate in there. You can filter, so there's a lot of really cool built-in functionalities in any of these grids and lists that you see throughout the system. It's going to let you get to the information that you need. Now, this line is going to show me detail as far as primarily the item that I am pricing here, the unit of measure that that's going to apply to, and then the unit price. So that's going to show me my overall. So to translate to our legacy system, this will show my front line right here. You'll also notice that it shows me starting and ending dates. So I can see that I had one that expired last November. I have a new one that picked up as of December, so you can really filter down and see what your current active ones are, but also see the history of that. And again, this is all the items under this vendor that we'll put in one price list. Now, I have the frontline price, but the other thing that we're going to keep in this, because it makes sense to go along with your list price, is the Case 1 DA. So if you guys have Case 1 DAs that exist, again, outside of that deal, no matter, if you sell it out of a deal, you really want it to still capture a Case 1, then this is going to be our Case 1 or our all Case DA that you can keep here. So you're able to set those. What this also allows you to do is set future Case 1s, which you don't have the ability to do now. Now it is either on or off. In the future, you'll be able to set, okay, I have a change with my Case 1 DA. You can create a new line and set that as a future Case 1 DA amount as well. Good. So I have the ability to edit these. I can edit the existing one. I can expire and add new ones. So I have a lot of flexibility here around this list price and the Case 1 DA, which again is a custom, of course, for wine and spirits, to show you guys the pricing. So that's our frontline or list price information. The next one I want to show you, I'm going to back out of that and I'm going to go to the purchase pricing. So it looks very similar. And this is your purchase price. And I'm just going to do partial words here. And you can see that it searches for me as it contains. I can pull up the purchase price list here. And I can see my purchase prices or our FOB lists. Again, this is going to be grouped by your vendor. So that you can see, and you have some flexibility there, and we can discuss that. This is just our best practice would be to group it by vendor and be able to set the purchase prices here. So I'm going to click into one of my examples. For this one, because it's the cost side, it really is assigned by vendor, and you can choose kind of how to assign that. So for the purchase prices, for sure, we want to group those by vendor. The list prices, that just kind of makes sense to do. But you can see that we are assigning to a vendor and stipulating this is our specific one. So some of you that have transfer vendors or internal vendors, you would have a separate purchase price list that would have that information based on that vendor. Good. So again, it looks very similar because it is very similar as far as what's being kept. But we have a couple of different fields just because we're dealing with cost here. You can see the assigned to number because we are just limiting it to only when we're purchasing from Brown-Forman do we really have this cost. It'll give me the start and ending date, just like we have now if you think about your FOB view or your FOB information, we have that. And then we have the direct unit cost, which is really going to be your final FOB. So this is our net FOB that shows this is what's going to hit a PO when we go to order that. We also have for reporting, for margin calculations and things, we have SPA and included freight that you can break off, that you're saying, okay, this $45 includes $1 of SPA and $2 included supplier direct freight. So that's what this is letting you do. And again, you can set that by unit of measure code. So if you did have one that you purchased in bottles, you can handle that here too. Good, so that's going to be kind of our purchase price information or our vendor costs versus our list pricing. So you can kind of get the feel for those core elements of price and cost and how we're working toward our sales margins here. Good. Now, the next thing I want to show you is just looking into the item card a little bit, just to touch on a couple more elements of price that we're going to keep track of course, in the new system. For this one, I'm going to go to my items list, which I have pinned as a quick link on my my homepage here. And then I have a list of all of my items, and I can drill into my item card. So in the item card, I'm not going to review everything. We'll have a whole other training on items, so don't worry about that. But there's a couple things that I just want to point out that we keep for the item. The first thing is going to be your landed costs. So these are other things, again, that are going toward that margin calculation. Your landed costs are going to be kept in the cost and posting, and I can drill in to see the landed costs assigned to that item. So I'm able to drill directly from the item card and quickly see the costs that are associated with that item. Of course, we'll have a lot of reporting around this, but if you wanted to go in and see it or manage it, then you have the ability to do that. The other thing that we have is the beverage tax. So when we're keeping track of our beverage tax information, we'll be able to set that in so that we know the gallonage tax that will accrue for that item is to calculate as part of your margin as well, whether you pay it on sale or receipt, as some of you do one or the other. Good. So those are kind of the big places where we're keeping core item information about your pricing and your costs kind of at that item level. The other piece, which is sort of the big piece, is going to be the deals. That is something that we, as I mentioned, are developing something custom. We don't have that quite ready to show you yet. We will have a whole separate webinar on that once we're ready with the deal module inside of BC. But just know that that also will be sort of a one-stop shop for us to be able to get there. I also want to point out that one of the beauties of Business Central is that we really do want it to feel very cohesive as far as if you're looking for information, you have the ability to jump between screens without backing all the way out and having to go a different direction. So just a note there, I'm on the item list right now. I do have under prices and discounts the sales price and purchase price that we navigated to before. So there's a lot of kind of logical links to help you jump between the things that you're wanting to look at for a specific item or specific vendor or what have you. Okay, so now I want to talk through kind of our setup information about Reprice. So again, the Reprice process is going to impact sales orders. We'll look at an example sales order in a minute. But first I want to talk about things that are going to happen in the back end that you won't necessarily touch every day, but I think it's important for you to see for the way that we're evaluating Reprice. The first one is going to be a deal table that we're going to build. So just like now, some of you know this and some of you might not, we pull all of that information from deals in Inventive and we create our own sort of master deal spreadsheet or table in the back end. And we use that now in your legacy system to reprice your invoices. The same thing will be done in Business Central, and we will have a table. So you can see I've got some test deals going on here. We'll have a big table that has all kinds of information about your deals. Now, you will not manage deals through a big table. That is unreasonable. So we'll have nice, pretty screens for you to manage, all your deals and see your setup and your margins and all that good stuff. But I do want you to know that this is kind of what will happen is we'll gather all that deal information. We'll present it for family deals only. So only for the deals that really will reprice. We'll present that to you in this list. So for some of you that are more technical users, this will be a really good kind of reference point for research and things like that as needed. But in general, the main user will not really be using this table. I just want you to know that that does exist and it is accessible. So you don't have to go back into the database to see it in the back end. You really can see that within Business Central as long as you have security to do so. So this is going to gather from all of our deals set up. Again, that will gather a list of everything that is active right now and also is a family deal. So everything that we really do need to reference for Reprice needs to go into this table. We'll create a process that populates that from our new pricing module. And then this will give us kind of our master list to go for. So that's one part of the setup here. The other part is being able to map to how the orders are going to reprice. So I mentioned that we'll still be able to control your order information and order types and things like that as it comes in from Inventive. Different delivery instructions can help us just like we do now. But that's going to be set up under order types. So this is part of the 365 Wine Trade Custom for wine and spirits distributors, is that we have a lot of order types. We're still playing with some of these, so this isn't a final list or anything. But I just want to point out that we're able to look at the different order types in the system, and you can see this allow repricing checkbox. So this tells us, hey, we really do want to reprice these orders where we wouldn't necessarily, if it's maybe a transfer order or something, you know, a sample. We don't want that to really hit the reprice process at all because it's not dependent on deals. We can just exclude those from repricing based on what type of order it is. We also will have a similar setup that's called order category that will be just another layer of kind of detail about that order, and we also can select that from the category as well. So this is a good example of the way that we're kind of rethinking our setup as we move into Business Central. We want to make sure that the setup is as user-facing as possible. That doesn't mean that we'll let all users have access to go do whatever they want in the order type setup. However, it will allow the technical users or the super users for that area to be able to control and understand that setup for your individual business. And it's less hard coding and, you know, programming in the back end if something needs to change. So I'm really excited about that because I think we can empower you guys as much as you're willing and able to really allow you to control a lot of this internally as much as you want. Of course, as we walk through your implementation, we will walk through all of these options with you. We'll get everything set for you and kind of walk you through how to do that because a lot of this stuff does not change daily. You know, this isn't something that you're going to be flipping on and off for repricing necessarily. However, it is good to know where it is because let's say that there's a major pricing issue that you guys found, you can turn off repricing and until you get it fixed. And so there's a little bit of control there that doesn't always require a call to our developers in order to stop something. So we're really excited about that. And I think the setup in general, as you see more of our webinars, you're going to see that a lot of this setup really is happening. And we're giving you kind of toggles and options inside the system, which again, we will be happy to help with, but also you will be able to see without it being a mystery of how it's getting where it's going. So we're really excited about that. Good, so that's the setup for kind of the order types and for the deals. So we've talked about kind of where pricing lives, where we're setting up that deal table to reprice, and where the order types are going to be kind of recognized as repriceable. So now I would like to finally get into a sales order with you. I'm going to go to my just open sales orders that I have here in the system, and I've got a test one that I booked with an example date of tomorrow so that we can kind of see what's going on with that. So I'm going to click into this sales order. Again, you can see I came to a list, which is a lot like Smart List, but it's an interactive Smart List, so you really can click into the edit screen. There's not different screens in Business Central for inquiry versus edit. It can be controlled by your security, but you really can edit something when you're in it instead of having to navigate out to a different screen. So that's really fun. So this is going to be our sales order setup. Now, a lot of this, obviously, we're going to import all of this from Inventive or an outside sales platform, but it's really good to know kind of what the makeup of a sales order is and be able to see that information. So we're just going to quickly review some of this, and then we'll talk about the pricing of it. You can see kind of basic information as far as my customer information, my sales order number, which just auto increments there. You can see my order type code, and then there's the category code, which I don't have filled out for my example, but this order type code, that ties back to the setup that we just went through. So I'm able to say, yep, I want sales, anything in the sale order type code to reprice, and then that turns that on so that Reprice will evaluate that. I have dates here. All the dates are together, so you don't have to drill in and out of different screens in order to find the dates. So we can see all the dates here. My order date is going to be the date that I actually punched it. Everything else is usually unless it's a bill and hold, it's usually going to tie everything else to that ship date. So I've got all my ship dates here and my order date to track. You can change all of those. That's editable if the order is open. You can see I've got route and stop information, my invoice break information. So everything is kind of able to be presented to me without having to dig into a lot of different windows and fields. Business Central is also really friendly for personalization. So you have the ability to show fields that you care about and hide fields that you don't care about. So you're not looking for more information than you need. We also have show more and show less buttons. So you can see over at the show more, I can click show more. You can see there is a ton of information here, like address information. For sales order review, I don't really care, but I do have the ability to dig in and see that information if I want, or I can hit show less, and then I'm just looking at what I care about. Again, that's highly customizable by user, so we'll work with you on kind of the best view for what you're looking for as well. So that's kind of our header information. We also have more header. I'm going to skip the line for a minute. We have more header kind of overall information about this order down below. That the biggest thing is going to be your payment terms, your tax information, that type of thing is going to be down in invoicing details. And then credit class, which is related to the holds, which Corey did a webinar on already. So if you haven't seen that one, I would encourage you to check that out. So that's sort of all of our header order information there. The second thing that I want to look at, aside from the header, is going to be our lines. So this is really going to be the lines of the order. You can see that it's kind of small by default. So if you have more than a few, you really want to utilize probably this focus mode. Focus mode is all throughout the system, and that just gives you a little more screen real estate so you can see more of the lines on your orders. Mine's kind of a lame 2-line order, but most of your orders are probably a little bit bigger than that. So just a reminder that you have that focus mode available to you. Good. So sales line, I just want to kind of review some of the key fields. Again, I have the fields in the order and in the view that I want because of the things I've been reviewing and testing, highly customizable by user. So mine look a little bit different than Corey's or Matt's because they're looking at different things. So this is going to show me all the items that I have on the order. It's going to show me my quantity. I like this field at the beginning because it's showing me case and bottle all together. So I can see this is 10 cases, 0 bottles. If I had a bottle line, then it would show the 0 and then the number of bottles here. So that's kind of a nice quick reference. It'll show me, of course, my item information. If I wanted to drill back just to demonstrate how easy it is to drill back inside of BC, I can click here and I can hit show details and it'll take me directly to the item card. So if I needed to see more information, we were in this item card before, I can drill right back to that directly from the sales order and then close that when I'm done. We have the unit of measure, of course, and then we have these PA fields. So the PA fields, obviously for us, standing for Pocket Advantage, so imported from the sales platform, things that we capture about the order that might not fit neatly in an ERP sales line information, but we still want to keep track of it. For example, we want to know if it's an original unit of measure of case or bottle, because even if we have to split a case, we're not going to charge a split case on an original unit of measure of case. So that type of thing we keep track of and are repeating all of that same functionality in the system. I can see information about this sales line just by scrolling over. I don't have to, again, drill into extra screens. So we've tried to do the best we can to give you all of the information that's valuable to you in one view. Again, you might have to scroll back and forth depending on how much you want to see, but that's all available without a ton of drilling in. So I can see my deal information here. I can see my free good information here. If it's a free good on the order, then it will be marked as a free good. I can see the amount that I have on order here and the amount that has been reserved. As a reminder, reserve and allocation are flipped as far as the terminology in Business Central. So reserved is really, taken out of on-hand inventory. Allocation is really going through a committed allocation for a customer, like we would say a reserve for now. So that's a little bit of a vocab change that we'll get used to together. Good. It's going to give me the unit price. So I get my unit price that is passing to Inventive or pulling from that list price setup that we looked at before based on the date. So we're able to see that. And then it gives me the line amount discount. The line amount discount is going to be the total. So that's the total for the whole line. So for this, it's $5 a case because I have a 10 case order. That gives me my total, and then it expands it all out. So $5 a case, $54 is my net, expanded to $540. I then get a ton of more information as far as my pack sizes, my unit sizes, all kinds of information about that. And I'm going to see whether it has gone through Reprice or not. We also see some other kind of repricing information. So I want to kind of pause here and talk about functionality of the sales line when it comes in versus when it is going to reprice if needed. So when I am in my order here, I have a review status, a status of release, and a review status of approved. So my status of release, that's what you'll see most all of the time inside of Business Central. When an order is first keyed into the system, it's in a status of open, so editable. Whenever we import those, we're going to import them with all the information, and we're going to immediately release them. Releasing says, hey, I have what I need in this order, and this either needs to go for credit review, if that's applicable, or I'm done with it, and it can kind of sit there until we're ready to route, right? Now, if I need to edit an order, I can do that. I just need to do release and reopen up here at the top. And reopen allows me to edit and change things. So you can see when I reopen, that status changes to open. My review status clears out because it's not in any credit review. And then I'm able to edit. If I try to edit while it's in release, the system will just say, hey, you can't do that. So it'll remind me. So I can edit things about the order. I can edit quantities if I needed to. So just like you can punch over things now inside of GP, you can do that in BC too, as long as it's in an open status. Now, when I'm done editing and I'm really ready to release it, then I can hit the release button again, which again this is the part we're doing automatically on import as well. And that will trigger that to release. Now, you see that was a quick process. If it needed to go to credit review for any reason, if there was any holds in place, this would say pending instead of approved. But I'm able to then release that. Now that action that I just did, hitting release, is the action that calls the reprice process. So instead of us having to wait for a scheduler to run half an hour every hour, whatever, it's when it's released that it's going to call that reprice process. Now, if I had other orders in the system that are already released for Alley Taps for the same ship date, so if I had other orders there for going on the 12th, same customer that are already released, then this process is also looking at all of those. So if it identifies, ooh, I can combine these quantities together to get to a better buy-in and get a better deal, not only is it going to address my order that I'm looking at here, it will also go update all of those orders that have already been released. So it really is handling, just like we have now, where it goes and touches all applicable orders, it's also doing that inside of BC as well. But the trigger to that is that order being released. So as the order comes in, it's immediately released by our integration map, then it will immediately call the reprice against that if it needs to be repriced. If not, then it will keep the same pricing that it had, if there's nothing else that it qualifies for that's better. Now, part of that reprice is going to touch only a few fields on the sales line, so I just want to review those, just like now. First thing we're going to do is touch the discount. So our discount amount will be updated based on the deal that it finds if it puts us into a new deal. You'll notice that one of my free good here, you can see that my second line is marked as a free good. It's got the full amount in the discount, and it's got a little red star there because it really wants us to have a value, but we don't because it's a free good. We're giving it away. That will not stop it from shipping or posting. That just is a little flag to say, hey, just a reminder, you're not charging them anything for this. So for free goods, that's what we expect, and we move on. So it's going to touch the discount just like it does now. The other thing it will touch is the DAs. So we have DA 1, 2, and 3 right here on the sales line. So again, you don't have to dig back to find that. You can see that right here. So for the DAs, if that is repricing into a deal that is different, then it will show that on the DAs here. For free goods, you can see that I have a free good chargeback percentage. And so if I'm adding, so this deal that I'm priced into right now does have a free good on it. it's going to reference the deal setup to say what's our chargeback percentage on this, and it will go ahead and populate that chargeback percentage here. If we reprice into a deal with a different free good or that doesn't have a free good, then that line will be removed or updated as necessary to follow the right item and quantity amount for the free good, as well as the right chargeback percentage. Now, if the order came in on a deal and then was moved to a different deal, then that old deal ID, the original one, is going to go into this old deal ID field. So we really can keep track of it and see, okay, what did it come from before? So that's this old deal ID. And then, of course, the new deal ID is, here's where we put it. You know, here's where it was, and here's where the reprice process put it. Now, it also will update this PA, let's see here, PA deal ID right here. This is kind of our final. This is our point of truth. This is the deal that this is on. So for sales reporting, we need one final field of where the deal, you know, where it lands as far as a deal. That's our PA deal ID. So we'll use that for sales reporting. But just like now, if you've kind of dug around Reprice a little bit in research, then we have an old deal and a new deal. We're going to keep track of that as well. And then, of course, this reprice checkbox is just indicating, yep, this guy has been through reprice. So I can know, you know, if I've got a long order and a couple of them did hit reprice, I can know which ones were evaluated and repriced for that. And so I can know what to look into as far as my old and new deal IDs. Good, so those are the things that it touches. Now you'll also notice we have exclude from reprice checkboxes right here. Again, we have this now. If you've never played around with it, we do have it now. It just is in a one extra click down of a window inside of GP. But this allows me to say, you know what, I don't want this line to be repriced, and it allows you to set a reason. So we can, and those are user definable, we can set up reasons for you, or you can set up reasons that you would not want that. There might be things like this is a manual, you know, adjustment that I need to go make, but you can do that within the system. So if I decide I don't want this to be repriced anymore, I can check this exclude. And then I know that even if I didn't put it in as an override deal or, you know, an override order type or anything like that, this line is no longer going to be evaluated as part of my repricing process from now on. So I can click that, and you can set a reason for that. Some of you have that just depending on the type of order that comes in. Again, we may be able to control that a little bit more with more granularity through the order types and order categories now than we do you know, in the legacy system. But if there's kind of one-offs where I know that this one, for whatever reason, does not need to go through reprice, or I don't want the price changing on this because this guy's real mad and I need to make sure he gets this price or something like that, then you have the ability to just come in and check that, and then you can know that it's not going to change from that point unless you change it or unless you uncheck that box. So a lot of flexibility there for the manual reason there. Good. So those are going to be kind of our biggest things that happen with that order repricing. Again, if it had another order that was for the same ship date and customer that was evaluated during the reprice process of releasing this one, then you could go back to that order and you'll see it updated as well. So you'll see that one marked as reprice and that type of thing in order to go you know, research what else has been touched. So that's kind of the overview of the sales order itself. Now, we do have an archive table. Now, some of you know that we have an archive table now for Reprice, but again, that's more of on the database side in your legacy system. We actually have that available for you inside of BC, and that's going to be our Infuse Reprice archive. So again, this is just going to be a certain amount of data, probably 30 days or so worth of data that we will keep. Once we're out of testing, you can see my test data, of course, is older. But we'll keep about 30 days or so worth of data and be able to see all of the information that happened during Reprice so that you can trace through what really happened. So I can see a date timestamp of when things are being repriced. So you can see, as I was playing with my test order yesterday, you can see the repricing that I did as I was playing with some deals and changing that. It gives all that information of what it did for each item. It gives free good information. It gives all, you know, whether it removed a free good, whether it inserted a free good. So all of that granularity that right now we would have to kind of go into the back end to get, you have that available for your own research. So again, if there's a super user that is researching a repricing question or time, then you can see that here in that Reprice archive, and we'll keep a certain amount of information, probably about 30 days back. So that Reprice archive is really valuable. Again, most things should just flow right in and go through Reprice and you never have a question. But just in case you do, we like to keep good archiving tables so that you have just the story of what happened with an order. Good. And then also I want to show you another place that you can look, which is the sales lines list. So this one is kind of like a sales line smart list, but it's a good place for you to be able to see your orders that are open in the system, and you can see kind of overall information about those at an item level. So right now you can see that I've got, a good chunk of orders in here, and it's a pretty quick search there. You're able to look at those orders. You can click to show more information about that. Again, you can personalize this so that you really can see the information about these lines that you want to see. And then you're able to really do that research without having to dig into each individual order. So this is a really valuable just sales line. Think of it just, again, these lists in BC are like smart lists, but better because they're interactive and have a lot more drill down functionality to do what you need to do with the system. Thank you so much for your time today to review some functionality in Business Central. If you have any questions or would like some additional follow-up or talk about next steps, please feel free to reach out to us. At the information here on my screen, you can send us an email, give us a call, or visit our website at infuzion.com. Thank you.